Hello, my beautiful Libras. How are you today? We are here to look at your first life path reading. This is a new series, and it's all about answering how to empower yourself in your life over the next month on your life path. So the messages from your archangels are the first thing that we're going to look at this time. Uriel actually had a lot to say to you today because both messages are from Archangel Uriel. Share your dreams, desires, and insights. And this really flows very beautifully into the rest of the reading. Your gifts are needed in this world. Okay, so that's very powerful information from the archangels telling you that you really need to take action. Now look at what we see. I love this for you, Libra. We have the Hunter Moon coming up, and we have abundance as your outcome. So for those of you who have used a lot of strategy, because the Harvest Queen here is holding a fox, there are birds of enlightenment, there are owls, there are little baby foxes watching. We have all of this beautiful abundance coming to you because of something that you actually do, something that you bring to the universe, something that you bring to the world at large will work out in a very abundant way for you. So when we look at the gardener, what we see is a woman who is in the process of really building, gardening, harvesting. When she appears in the reading, it says that her soul she is the caretaker of her soul, the caretaker of her home. Her feelings are the flowers in the garden, and by taking care of herself, she keeps growing stronger. Sometimes uninvited guests arrive in the garden, such as jealousy, such as shame. But if we recognize that these are neither good or bad, something to be investigated and accepted, we can really treat ourselves with a lot more compassion, a lot more ability to accept all of those parts of ourselves that will help us really be abundant. And it's also the work that I see you doing is going to be helping other people in that same way. So you are really mastering, there's a lot of self-mastery going on here for you. And I just want to say, regardless of any person's age that's watching this, it is a mistaken concept that all of a sudden at 50 years old or at retirement age that your life is sort of ends, you just sit back in a rocker. If you do that, you probably won't be in the rocker for very long because we always need to grow. The Lord of the Forest is the call of spirit and the fairy oracles to take action. The Lord of the Forest is yang energy, it's masculine energy, and it says it is time to move on something that you've been thinking about doing for a long time. Again, with the Harvest Moon, you are ready to harvest something. You have been growing a very abundant garden. Now it's time for the harvest. It's time to take action. And it's really gorgeous energy because it really speaks to the fact that timing is with you. Crossing a bridge. It's time for healing, connecting, mending, and releasing. There's a lot of releasing that's going on in other parts of the reading today, and we will talk about that. So keep this in mind. You're going to be releasing something. You're crossing a bridge from this phase of life into another phase of life. And you've been ruminating, you've been thinking about things, you've been contemplating them, you've been, sort of masterminding a plan. And the time is going to come in the very near future for you to act on those plans. And that's what Spirit is doing, is calling on you to do that. We have the desert energy as an archetypical energy. And for many of you, you've gone through a very, very parching sort of, almost like you're without water, you're without the basic things that you may need. The desert, is very, as we all know, you can go to the desert and it has its dangers, but it really speaks to the time, at this time, that it brings out all of your fears, all of your insecurities. We see mirages. It's very difficult to know that we're ever going to have water again. It's difficult to know where we're going to find our food or our sustenance in life. The desert is harsh, but it creates an environment in which you will have illuminations about yourself and the world around you. And this to me is very COVID related, of lack and darkness. And it really says that whatever you learn at this time is going to help you teach others. So the mentor card energy is coming up as your archetype also. The mentor can walk into a room and spot sort of everything that everybody needs. So say this is a college professor. It would be a professor who would say to one student, look at, you're really brilliant, but I don't see you as a person who finishes what they start. You're not a job completion person. Ouch, right? That's the dark side. But the dark side is where the mentor comes in to help you find your way. And that's what I see many of you doing. I feel as though many of you, because you're so relationship oriented, Libra, and you have such diplomacy and beauty and staying power, many of you will decide to teach or be a mentor or to help people in some way, whether it's to write a book, whether it's to create a practice where you coach people, or just yourself. But what I'm seeing here is this mentor energy is not always comfortable energy. This is a person who speaks up and tells you what you need to hear, whether you like it or not. And so the universe is really telling you that it is time to move forward, that you are going to be taking a leadership role. And that's what the Lord of the Forest is. You've done the internal work with this beautiful gardener. You're about to cash in on your abundance, but you are going to have to leave things behind. And so for many of you that have been in relationship, and I will say this because the cards are going to bear this out, that, many of you have been in a relationship that felt very like you were in a desert, like you just couldn't see the reality. You didn't know where the sustenance was coming from. And there was a lot of passion and there's a lot of emotionality about this. But it does look, this hand is like, feed me, I'm under the sand, I'm buried in the desert. A windstorm came up that I didn't see coming, and it put me, underneath something. And so the mentor energy is that you're also going to act as your own teacher, that you can trust yourself. Uriel is really saying that your gifts are needed in this world. That's the mentor energy. After going through dark night of the soul, which is very much what the desert is, we find out that we're not just such peachy keen, little, always polite people, because, when we look at the gardener, this gardener is becoming aware that the weeds in the garden are jealousy and ego and things that do not really serve us, but we all have them. And it really is a matter of acknowledging them and not letting them grow like a weed out of control that chokes off and pushes us into a narcissistic sort of tendency or way of viewing the world. So when we look at your relationships, we get also too that for many of you, for most of you, someone around you, you have a secret admirer. You have someone who's longing to be with you. You need balance right now. Well, Libra, you are the sign of balance. One person in this relationship is giving too much, and we are going to talk about relationships at the end of the reading, because this is the light side, the part that you're aware of, and underneath the subconscious motivations in your relationships right now. So this is what you'll be aware of. This is what you don't see, because that's shadow work. Again, the mentor and the desert and the shadow work are really pulling together quite beautifully. When we look at the energy of, it's time for healing, connecting, releasing, crossing bridges, going to a new location, moving forward, we see the Six of Swords card. We also see the Chariot card. You are really, moving in here in this particular month, sort of hell-bent on getting something, getting to a destination. You are in control. You have mastery of your emotions. This chariot driver does not need any reins. This chariot driver is communicating with the horses. Spiritually, it's emotional. You have control of all the different energies, because we both have light and dark. We all have light and dark. You really have mastered your emotions. This is always the Emperor that drives the chariot. You have mastery. So now when we look at this, we're getting into the horoscope, in which I'm going to tell your horoscope through the cards, because I think it's so much more gratifying personally. And so we're going to clarify this Emperor card. Now, the first house and the seventh house. This is you as an individual, how you present yourself to the world. So right now, if you are looking good, you are really, for some of you, you've been working hard on your bodies. For others of you, you may be considering a new car, but you have a goal and a destination in mind, Libra. And this is for Libra ascendants as well as sun signs. But you have a you're on a mission from God, as they said in the Blues Brothers movie with John Belushi. We're on a mission from God, and so we're off to the races. The seventh house also speaks to a partnership that will bring you a very strong sense of stability financially. So for some of you, you may be married or living with a partner. And this is a single card, so it doesn't imply marriage. It really does imply that you may be living with someone or dating someone who's very comfortable financially. So it really speaks to the seventh house growing right now. The Virgo energy of the seventh house is all about really doing the work of the relationship so you can enjoy the abundance. But it is still a card, Nine of Pentacles, is still a card of being single and ready to mingle, and that does represent your partner. So for many of you, you will be in a partnership that could be causing, yep, and here I got it. Okay, so I think for many of you, because I see the Six of Swords as your hidden energy, a desire to leave, when I looked at these energies, there's something going on in this partnership that you find difficult. There's something about the partner that you're with that appears on the surface to be wonderful, and you don't, for the most part, I don't see you wanting to leave the partnership. The Death card is reversed. You're not really ready to leave, but it does show that you're going to be looking at this time. A beautiful thing to do would be to look at yourself, try to, go online, study different aspects of relationship. There's so much on YouTube about relationship that's wonderful, that will help you really sort through what is you and what is the other person, really being able to discern as a mentor who in the room is bringing in darkness. What's your darkness? What's their darkness? What do you have to learn? What do they have to learn? And so it really speaks very clearly to the fact that right now you are not ready to leave, but you are at wit's end. You feel as though you've been carrying a burden that's been very heavy. You don't feel as though you've had a partnership, because we have the Ten of Wands reversed. You're not really ready to let go. Once again, not ready to let go of a partnership. But it really says that right now you are moving in your life completely. You're seeking abundance. You are out there. You are just out there. You are hell-bent in meeting your needs and finding your path in life. You are on the road to success right now. And this is going to be about your journey in the coming month. All right, so why is a Page of Swords? Now, this is the second house of money, your personal money, your partner's money and abundance. This is everything that you value. So oftentimes it's our families, oftentimes it's whatever we see here is something that is a focus of your value right now. So, and this is your partner's money. So when we look at the way I'm doing the horoscope spread is to look at the self and the other in every aspect of your life, because that's how astrology reads. So when we look at the second house, you are valuing study. You are all about learning something. If we look at the Page of Swords, this oftentimes you're taking a risk because you're walking barefoot on a sword while holding a book, while seeking enlightenment. You have birds sort of protecting you around the way. But, if this person falls off of this sword, there's a waterfall. It's a pretty steep fall. So you feel very compelled right now to really learn something new. That by learning, studying, plotting, planning, oftentimes on the internet, because that's our internet spy card, but it is a learning card. The pages are always learning. They're always trying to find new messages. And it really speaks to the fact that you are preparing yourself for abundance. Okay, so I'm very happy about that. The Lord of the Forest says that you are preparing to take action, and the Chariot card reinforces that you are moving ahead. Okay, so really great energy. Now your partner, now this is 8th house money. So right now what it shows me is that this is probably not the best time to apply for a loan. You may have had a reduction of income, although you're coming into abundance. If you are looking at your investments, if you're looking at inheritances, if you're looking at what other people can do for you or give you, this is a house of Scorpio. Right now, self-sufficiency is the key. I would say that you're exhausted from expecting other people to do maybe what they promised to do, and maybe what they should be doing, and you're feeling a deep sense of dissatisfaction and exhaustion at this time over what a partner is bringing and contributing to a relationship. We get the 6 of Pentacles. I love this card. It is in reverse. It basically says that you no longer want to be dependent upon anyone else. The study that you are embarking upon, for those of you, you might be going back to school, you may be getting a degree, I don't know why I think this book looks like the law, but I feel like it does. It's like, a student saying, yes, I want to be a lawyer. But what we're seeing here is 6 of Pentacles. Right now, there's not equal give and take in a partnership. Let's see what else we have about that. Let's see. But I also get that most of you feel as though you're not abundant enough, but look it, you're working on it. All right, the Hanged Man reverse. Good, you're taking action now. So you've really thought about this long and hard. You have figured out how to do this without risking too much, okay? So the 4 of Cups is your person's, what they're bringing to the table. It's also investments, it's all about, this is life and death. This is beginnings and endings. And you're really in a state of exhaustion about something that you feel should end. And again, somebody else's investment here in a partnership. Okay, I must be holding these cards upside down. And indeed I am. So I'm going to turn this over. All right, so we have the Star card. The Star card says that you want to be the rock star in your own life. You absolutely are going to heal. You're going to mend. I would say that many of you will pay off debts. And it looks as though with the Star card, which is the number 17, 1 and 7 is 8, bringing more stability. It is the 8th house. So right now, if you did want to get a loan, but I don't see that as being what you're doing. If for those of you who wanted to get a loan, chances are you could get a loan, even though you might not want to at this period of time, because I'm just seeing you being sort of anti-borrowing. But what we see is investments of time, energy with a partner, whatever you've invested in that really hasn't paid off up until now is going to begin to pay off. So beautiful energy there for you. When we look at the 3rd house, we are looking at Gemini energy and we're looking at Sagittarius energy. So when we look at the 3rd house, we're looking at contracts, vehicles, communication. Where right now, as I film this, we're in a Mercury retrograde. And so I'm seeing a lot of communication and the beginning of a new way of communicating in the world. The Ace of Wands is a creative project, one that you are involved with right now. For many of you, it will be an internet launch of some sort, but this is going to go very well. In the next 8 months, again, you are cashing in on a very abundant cycle. This is a card of taking action. What we see here in the 9th house is that especially the 9th house is universities, it's the legal system, it is, and that's what I said, I thought that person looked like they were studying law. It could be being an arbitrator, but what we're seeing here is tremendous happiness. This is the house of the mentor, a teacher. You know, this is really finding happiness. If you are going to university right now, if you are traveling in foreign cultures or you live someplace abroad, Sagittarius rules international travel. Sagittarius rules different cultures. It rules religion and codified thought in terms of philosophy. You know, some people are not religious, they don't go to church, but they have very definite beliefs about spirituality. You are going to have a beautiful blossoming of a relationship in which you could live happily ever after. So if you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, take what resonates, because this is a general reading, as you know. So, but this really speaks to finding your happily ever after in the 9th house, that if you go to a different country, you could easily fall in love with somebody, and it would be very fast. Very fast communication at light speed. 8 of Wands even represents air travel. The Ace of Wands means that the attraction would be really intense. It really speaks to longing. Somebody secretly is yearning for you, and so secretly would have a lot to do with, you know, you can't just go up to a stranger and say, wow, I think I fell in love with you. I think this is love at first sight. And that's what it can be. And it's somebody with whom you would speak for hours. You know, you would talk to them for hours. You would make love for hours. Squeak, squeak. That's the bed squeaking. So it really speaks to someone who is very much, and it's yang energy. You know, it might be that you surprise yourself by making the first move on somebody you find attractive. But whatever it is, Gemini, it is going to go very well. Again, if you want to buy a new car, if you want to sign a contract, you know, this period of time is going to be the time when you make decisions, and you won't act on it, I don't think, until Mercury is direct. The 9th house, what do we have here in this beautiful 9th house energy on the astrology wheel? We have the Emperor card. Wow, mastery. The Emperor card would be like a doctoral degree. But you know, you can have a doctoral degree in life, right? We look at different people and different philosophers. I think of Maya Angelou and how beautiful she was in her wisdom that she shared with the world. Some of the things she said, some of her quotes are incredible. And what I'm seeing is that you could very likely also fall in love with a mentor. Just because the Emperor here has a beard does not mean they're old. It just means that they have a leveling. That you are developing a mastery that is going to bring you happiness for the rest of your life. The 10 of Cups, when I do timing and I look at, you know, this is going to be a 100-year cycle. This is not just a 10-year cycle. This will be a multi-dimensional cycle for you. This beautiful knowledge you're gaining in this lifetime will be carried over to the next. Okay. So let's take a look at the 8 of Pentacles. The 8 of Pentacles energy is your 4th house energy. This oftentimes means working at home, but it also is all about the apprentice. Actually, the journeyman. The apprentice would be more like the Fool card. But when we get the card of the 8 of Pentacles, we get somebody who is very close to mastery, which is 10 of coins, and you're at the 8 of coins. So it does show that a lot of what you're doing is from home, studying from home. The 4th house, you could even be studying real estate. You could be looking at investments, learning about real estate investments. You could be, you know, learning about how to design a home, how to focus on repairing homes, you know, how to make homes more innovative, or writing a book about, like Marie Kondo did, about, you know, this is how you make your home more enjoyable. But it really speaks to the fact that, you know, someone could be an apprentice carpenter, electrician. You could be studying home design, or, you know, fashion design, even for the home, anything like that. But the 4 of Cups is really what we do in our home space. It really is also the influence of the madre, the mother. So it really shows that for many of you, a mother can also act as a mentor, a wisdom, you know, of course this is family, so you could be the child here in this energy, looking to a parent to give you information, and you have so much support. The Tower card is the 10th house. So for many of you, this would mean that you are in a company situation that is restructuring. Whenever I see the Tower card in a tarot reading, I really get that the foundation of whatever it is in your 10th house of career has come crumbling down. I was in the airline industry. I lost friends in 9/11. It was a shocking moment, but the Tower card, that's how the Tower affected me. And it's usually a lot of times world circumstances, especially when it's a 10th house. But it would absolutely also possibly launch you, and I'm getting the Chariot card again, that could also bring a tremendous new foundation and the beginning of something new in which you take the world by storm. You could have an idea or an invention that would totally alter the way people look at things. And so when we look at this, I know Aries rules the Tower, but I always think of the Tower card as Uranus. It's a quick lightning strike. And I always see it as that way. I'm an intuitive and empathic reader. The Tower card is a big surprise. And it shows that this is a surprise that has been driven by you, or that it can also be have you ever watched a movie and you see, the police officer is in, trying to undo a bomb, they're trying to take it so that it doesn't blow up. And what happens is something else happens and the bomb starts to go off and people come running out of the building, and all of a sudden, you think they're goners, and look at this. You emerge totally victorious from a situation that really could have taken you down. It really speaks to the fact that you're going to have a big surprise in your career if you haven't already. But it also is something that you can initiate. So for many of you, you could initiate groundbreaking thought, a different way of doing business. This would be a Jeff Bezos deciding on a company like Amazon. It's about enlightenment. It's about building a new foundation. It's about building a new structure. But you can be empowered. And for those who have lost a job, it looks like it's almost going to propel you forward in the most positive way that you could possibly consider. It's putting you on a path that you didn't expect. I do need to clarify the Eight of Pentacles in terms of studies. What does this mean for our beautiful Libras? What is this energy for Libra? The Queen of Cups. Okay. So the Queen of Cups, again, very Cancerian energy, a lot of Cancerian energy here, and Pisces energy. This is really following your intuition. This is all about doing what you love. The Queen of Cups is a homebody anyway. It's Cancerian energy. So when we see this, it shows me that you really love working from home. For those with whom this resonates. So what we see now, we're going over to the 5th house and the 11th house. So the 5th house is all about how you express your creativity. It's all about, it's about children. It's about children of the mind and body. So it's all about fun. It's about laughter. It's Leo energy. And what we're seeing here is that you're kind of quiet when everybody else is laughing and joking and, just laughing really hard. You tend to be quiet. You tend to be the person in the audience who laughs or snickers quietly, but it really speaks to the fact that you are the protector of high-level information about a creative project. You are keeping it to yourself. This beautiful energy of the 11th house, I don't think that you're telling your friends. You're keeping it to yourself. You do not want any outside influences. It's sort of like when we speak about the laws of attraction. Do not tell everybody your plans, because there's always a naysayer. There's always someone who will bring in a dark energy. There's always someone who will say, oh, I knew somebody once who had a dream, and you better be careful now, because what if you fail, and I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Of course, not acknowledging that not following a dream is never going to take you to the destination in which you would like to reside. So this energy, it says, really be secretive about creative energy right now. This is a great time when you're raising children, if you're writing a screenplay, if you're writing a book, if you're thinking about the way you want to have children or family, or express yourself in a creative way. You're doing the inner work. She's really thinking. It's sort of like when people say, well, I always wanted to write a book and then one day it popped up in my head. Now, this is not a fast energy per se. And I get that for many of you, your creative energy is very much about maybe mentoring or writing about, couples. For instance, if you are an interior designer, it would be about making or building space. It's like the Jack and Jill bedroom, it would be about making life better for a romantic partner by building space in to have time to think of your own. So it's like being intimate, learning to be intimate, and having a creative project that may really involve a partner. It could also mean that you could write books about marriage, or what does intimacy look like? You could write a novel. You could write a romantic novel. But at any rate, it really speaks to the fact that whatever it is that you're creating the focus of it will be about deeply intimate, important matters, things that are close to your heart, people that are close to your heart. That would be like writing a book and then putting in the preface all the thank yous and acknowledgments of the people who have stood by you. Really beautiful energy. The High Priestess is the keeper of the secrets, the keeper of the egg, so to speak. The High Priestess is usually the virginal expression of the Empress before she becomes the Empress. So prior to the time of turning into Venus, she's all about nurturing the inner core, nurturing relationships so that they can sustain and support the bigger expression of the Empress. All right, so the Four of Pentacles says that you're holding back. The 11th house is what this represents, and it is your associations with other people. It's friends, if you belong to a union, if you belong to a book club, if you belong to, a class in which you're taking boating or whatever. It really says that right now you wouldn't be overly interested. You're more fulfilled right now by your own creative projects and your home life, as opposed to the 11th house. The Four of Pentacles says that you're just really not super involved. You're keeping to yourself. You're holding back on some relationships that maybe you feel as though you need to protect yourself from. And here we have the Knight of Wands. So for many of you, you are not really getting very social right now because you just do not want anyone coming and going in your life. You only want relationships that are stable, steady, and relationships you can count on. Beautiful energy, Libra. Beautiful. What we see here now is we have the 6th house of everyday life. That's Virgo. It's ruled by Virgo naturally. The Wheel of Fortune. So in your day-to-day work life, in your health, you are abundant. This is beautiful energy. The 6th house is the daily, quote unquote, some people call it the grind. It can be the grind, but not with that Wheel of Fortune. You are in a time of prosperity. That which starts out little becomes big and multiplies and amplifies for you. So whatever it is that you're doing, it's that steady application. This is like really, really becoming a powerhouse in your life. And it's a very fortuitous time. So it says that if you want to have a health regimen, you're going to really be successful. You're going to do whatever you need to do. With that Chariot card, with the Yang energy, you're taking the action to make your day-to-day life better in health, in wealth, in just how you manage your workload, just the small tasks that really create a tremendous time of abundance. And again, I feel as though that the Chariot card is the action you're taking. And spirit and timing, the universe is going to reward you with a complete shakeup in which you are going to bring about for yourself in your career. I love the energy for you. It really speaks to great success coming through for you. Why do we have the Six of Swords? So this is the 12th house. This is what is secret, what is hidden. What we're seeing here is psychologically you are moving away from a very, very troublesome time. For many of you, you are healing and you're moving away from a time in your work life, but it could be any area of your life in which you've had pain. And the crows are all about the truth, and they're pulling her up to the beach. They're saying, look, you're going to get out of turbulent waters. The crows are very spiritual because they're all about the harsh truth. And it shows that you are having this beautiful release psychologically in which you have faced your demons in the gardener. You pulled the weeds, you're pulling the weeds, that the desert, that whatever the things are in the desert, the mirages, the reality, the dangers of the desert, you really are pulling out of those fears and conquering them. And you're really coming ashore to create new life and abundance for yourself. Okay. Balance. I love balance. One person is giving too much in this relationship. So we're going to look at relationships next, but let's clarify that. The Wheel of Fortune card. Okay. So what we're getting here is the Three of Wands. Your ships are coming in. Ta-da! There you go. So whatever it is that you're doing, Libra, keep up the good work. And what are you moving away from? What is our beautiful Libra? What are our beautiful Libra friends moving away from? Insincere relationships. You're moving away from a friend who may have betrayed you. You're moving away from the loss of a friendship, and it really shows that you're just moving on. It's not easy. It was painful, but you are moving on. Okay. So now we're going to move into a mini reading and this is about any relationship. Okay, this could be a lover, this could be a friend. It could resonate because what I find is that if I'm having trouble with relationships at all, it seems to affect all of my relationships. So if I'm in a tough cycle astrologically, and I really encourage all of you, astrology is a backbone of the tarot. So for those of you who are not into astrology, you're really cutting off, the timing aspect of when you can bring things to fruition. Astrology is about timing. And so what we're seeing here is that we have the Judgment card. You made a decision very clearly because we have the Chariot card. We have the card of study. We have the card of taking action to learn. We see you with Yang energy. We also, the advice of Yang energy. We see you having Yang energy to follow your heart, to follow your happiness. And what we see is that there is a relationship that you are going to keep in your life. Because it means so much to you, but it also says that you are going to release those situations or people which hold you back. So right now, I feel as though you're going through dark night of the soul and you're really sorting out, because Libra, you're all about relationships. You rule the 7th house of other people. When we look at the chart, we are looking at you as an abundant person and that you just don't need to carry the burdens of others. So we see you moving on in one relationship. There's one very significant relationship where you're moving on, you're leaving. And we see that again here in the Six of Swords card. And the Chariot card is just being self-motivated to do that. So outwardly, we have the Chariot. It really is, your hard work is going to pay off. This is all about successfully really balancing everything. It's also public recognition. The Chariot card here, the Chariot card here, the Chariot card here. So that is also something that tells me in your relationship, you may have someone around you who could be jealous because, you know, we see these sort of weeds that grow, you know, that you may be giving too much to a relationship. And it could be anyone. It could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, it could be a significant other. But this looks like it's a very personal relationship. So we also have the Four of Cups, which we see here also, that somebody with whom, you know, you feel that they are a star in their own right. You feel very much that, you know, you need a vacation, you sort of need a break from what everybody else needs, you need a break from physical exhaustion, and it does provide you with a lot of healing and a lot of abundance right now. We have the beautiful Queen of Pentacles. That is a mommy card. Again, we saw the energy that said that you didn't really feel as though you were getting or receiving equally in a relationship, and we see that a number of places, especially right here. The Moon card says you're following your intuition. It really is about, you know, paying attention to the signs from the design. Don't be fearful. Just let revelations, when they come to you, accept them. Trust your intuition. You know, if you really think that, you know, somebody is acting in sort of a nefarious way, you know, you can just sort of drop it. It's not your job. Here we see choppy waters again. You're giving too much. You're trying to sort of help someone stay in a space. They're trying to stay in a space where they make excuses about what they do. They become a second job to you. You can release that energy. So we also get, okay, now we get the shadow side before we wrap this up. This to me is so stunning and so beautiful. This is the El Goliath deck, and it is about the dark side of, it's our shadow selves. It's the dark side. It's when we look at ourselves. And what I'm seeing again is a Six of Swords energy. You take your eggs, the High Priestess, you take your eggs. We have this beautiful white dove. We have the Uranus in the background, which can also be a sudden epiphany. And it shows the Six of Swords moving out of a bad situation, taking that which you value with you and going to a different place. You are, the whole time you're flying, it's interesting because there's this basket and it looks like it's old and dry, but it's not. It's dropping seeds behind you into the water, which is fertility, which is growth. And it says that you have a hidden strength that is especially pronounced at this time. And I have shivers as I say this, Libra. I have shivers that the hidden strength, the shadow cat, this is an absolutely, you know, we love cats because they can project themselves to be very big when they're very small, but it really says that you are a Goliath. You are a giant. You are a giant in terms of what you are creating right now. And that even though you can't see these thousands of little seeds that you sprinkle every day in your life, you are sprinkling love and beauty and acceptance and kindness everywhere you go, and you are going to only involve yourselves with people who can give something back. Libra, that is your life path reading. I really need for you to make comments below, because one of the aspects of YouTube is that they depend on comments, thumbs up, to support any channel in their effort to put out content. So if you interact with the content in a very positive way by leaving thumbs up, it really does make a difference in my ability to hit the algorithm and to keep the channel alive and well, so I can keep providing content for you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Give a thumbs up if you do like this content. Sending you love from Chicago. It has been a joy doing this reading for you. I hope to see you again in another video. Take care, Libra. Bye-bye.